Good morning. Welcome to Reading the Science of Mind in 1 Year. I'm a senior minister and spiritual leader of the Center for Spiritual Living, Common Ground in Central Maryland. Today is July 16th, and apologize for the hiccup this morning. The technology decided to not live stream to all the places that it was set up to live stream, so we had to cancel it and start over. So here we are, none the worse for the wear. And let's get started with our reading. Here we go. Reading for July 16th, Science of Mind, A Philosophy of Faith, A Way of Life by Ernest Holmes. Reading from page 297, paragraph 2, through page 299, paragraph 3, using inclusive language. Attracting friends. In turning to the law, we realize that it is a law of reflection. Life is the mirror of king and slave. Emerson said, "If you want a friend, be a friend." As the idea of friendship draws upon the consciousness, the law of attraction produces friends. For one is the picture and the other is the thing. This is the great teaching of involution and evolution. The thought involved and the result evolved. One is the treatment and the other is the demonstration. When we are dealing with causation, we are dealing with that which has involved within itself all effect as it unfolds. We may leave it to the law to compel right action. With this in mind, let us go on to treatment. Do you wish to attract friends? We must begin to image ideal relationships, be they social or otherwise, to sense and feel the presence of friends, to enjoy them in our mentalities, not as an illusion but as a reality, not as a dream but as an experience, to declare that their presence is now here. But we must never look to see if they are here, because this would imply doubt and would neutralize our word. We can attract the kind of friends we wish if we specifically designate the kind, but we must never think of certain people, or that a particular individual must be one of the friends, for this would be hypnotic. The idea will bring the right kinds of friends. In order to have this friendship enduring, true, worthwhile, and a thing of beauty, we should cultivate an attitude of friendship toward everybody and everything. The one who has learned to love all people will find plenty of people who will return that love. This is not mere sentiment, and it is more than a religious attitude of mind. It is a deep scientific fact, and one to which we should pay attention. The reason is this: as all is mind, and as we attract to us what we first become, until we learn to love, we are not sending out love vibrations, and not until we send out those vibrations will we receive love in return. When we find we are without friends, the thing to do is at once to send our thought out to the whole world. Send it full of love and affection. Know that this thought will meet the desires of some other person who is wanting the same thing, and in some way the two will be drawn together. Think of the whole world as your friend, but you must also be the friend of the whole world. In this way, and with this simple practice, you will draw to you so many friends that the time will be too short to enjoy them all. Refuse to see the negative side of anyone. Refuse to let yourself misunderstand or be misunderstood. Know that everyone wants you to have the best. Affirm this wherever you go, and you will find things just as you wish them to be. One of the first things to do is to love everybody. If you have not done this, begin to do so at once. There is always more good than bad in people, and seeing the good tends to bring it forth. Love is the grandest healing and drawing power on earth. It is the very reason for our being, and that explains why it is that people should have something or someone to love. The life that has not loved has not lived. It is still dead. Love is the sole impulse for creation, and the person who does not have love as the greatest incentive in their life has never developed the real creative instinct. No one can swing out into the universe without love, for the whole universe is based upon it. Quote, "To them who hath loved much, much is forgiven." End quote. A person may have many shortcomings, but if they love greatly, much will be forgiven them. People are dying for real human interest, for genuine friendship, for someone to tell them that they are all right. We always welcome the person who looks at the world as their friend and loves it. And it is a law that the person who sees what they want to see, regardless of what appears, will someday experience in the outer what they have so faithfully seen in the within. For from selfish reasons alone, if from no loftier reason, we cannot afford to find fault, to hate, or even to hold in mind anything against any living soul. The God of love cannot hear the prayer of the one who fails to love. In our meditation for friendship, let us make our unity with all people, with all life. Quote, "God in me is unified with God in all. This one is now drawing into my life all love and fellowship. I am one with all people, with all things, with all life. As I listen in the silence, the voice of all humanity speaks to me and answers the love that I hold out to it. The great love which I now feel for the world is the love of God, and it is felt by all and comes back to me from all. I understand all people, and this understanding is reflected back to me from all. I give friendship, and therefore I have friends. I help, therefore I am helped. I uplift, therefore I am uplifted. I am now surrendered by love, all friendship, all companionship, all health, all happiness, all success. I am one with life. I wait in the silence while the Great Spirit bears this message to the whole world."
All right. So, for many of us, there can be a lot of challenging statements in this reading. For me, um, the second sentence, I had a, did we need to say it that way? Reaction. And I own it as a reaction because it's not actually a response. It happened way too quickly to be a response. It was a reaction. Um, Life is the mirror of king and slave. And I'm like, okay, couldn't we just say life is the mirror? Because for me, introducing the idea of king and slave is challenging because then that's what I think about. Um, and what I have come to experience is that life is simply a mirror. And that in and of itself is challenging enough for this human being to really lean into undefended ownership that everything I experience is a mirror of a belief held in mind. Now, notice there's no separation in that sentence about what's held in your mind or my mind, because we teach that there's only one wholeness, there's only one mind, and we're all using it. And so when I indulge my human desire to separate, my human comfort zone that wants to separate because I dislike what I'm seeing, I immediately advocate my spiritual agency to be a part of the change, because I immediately go to duality, and duality is untrue. And so from that point, I'm operating in a lie, and just simply continue to reinforce my sense of separation, which is the thing that needs to be healed. And I love that Ernest Holmes said that, and my experience bears that out. That separation has a gazillion forms, and it is the singular thing that needs to be healed to correct all of those forms of itself. Right? That we are not separate. Um, I love that it says, you know, the one who has learned to love all people will find plenty of people who will return that love. And it talks about not picking and choosing. Right? And for me, it's worth the examination of what's the motive that is deciding, that is compelling me to need certain people to be my friends. Um, we attract to us what we first become. Am I becoming what I want to attract? Am I willing to become what I want first? Or am I indulging the lie that there's something outside of me that will fix me? And for me, it's really important to own that motivation, because otherwise I reinforce that lie every time I reach outside of me for something to fix me. I reinforce the lie that I'm broken, and I'm not. I'm missing a part of me. And if I'm willing to become the truth of me, that opens the reciprocity. I have to be it first. Uh, I hope this is making sense. Um, that very last chapter before it gets into the meditation part, I think, is incredibly powerful. Before I go there, I highlighted love is the sole impulse for creation. And the one who does not have love has the greatest and the one who does not have love has the greatest incentive in their life, has never developed the real creative instinct. So, what that's telling me, it's reminding me that love is the compulsion. I'm reading something in the chat. Go read The Mind of Your Wife and Child, the only people you can control. And if you don't have a family, the only person you can control is yourself. I would submit that regardless of whether you have family or not, the only Um, and I wouldn't even think of it as control, but we're the only thinker in our minds, and I don't have the right or the capacity to control what somebody else thinks, and neither do you. We can try to exert control over. Um, that requires the sense of separation. It requires living into that, like separation is actually real. Um, and, that's exactly what science of mind is really calling us to do, is to take responsibility for our own experience, our own beliefs, from the understanding that they're coming to my attention for me to be a part of the healing of that within the wholeness of one. And it's a challenging paradigm for us to grasp in this human realm full of separation. Right? It just is. Um, Everything we experience in this physical plane smacks of separation, and yet we're not. And it the way that I'm able to conceive it, and I use I statements because I'm only sharing my perspective. I'm not, I'm the authority on what I'm aware of, and that changes. Thank goodness. But I think of it as a body, right? Because I can understand that I have a billions of cells operating in this physical body that I live in. And all of those cells are part of the whole while being a separate individualized cell that has its own function but is completely integrated and part of the whole of this body. And so I extrapolate that to understand that the body, the human body that we are living in, is a cell in the greater body of creation, that everything is a cell. And so we have specialized functions, and we impact and are part of the whole body of creation, and yet are never separate from it. And so there's no place where it's appropriate for one cell to try to control what the other cells are doing. It places the whole body in chaos. Um, in our physical body, it creates what we have labeled as physical illness. When that happens, it really, for me, has become practice and awareness of the harmonious operation of one, and to be aware of doing everything that I am able to do in this individualized form to first be in harmony with myself. And I'm not talking about my human self, I'm talking about my divine self, the substance of me, to do the spiritual practice to be in alignment with the truth of my being. That part on page 298 in the first paragraph, we attract to us what we first become. So if I want balance in my life, I have to become balanced. If I want joy in my life, I have to be joyful. If I want peace, I have to be peaceful. And so that's where my focus is, to be everything that I want. And, if I want prosperity, I have to be prosperous. If I want to receive, I have to give. It's just that simple. Um, and my human side, while it understands simple, oftentimes doesn't relate to any of it as easy. Um, and that's a whole journey of reconciling what words mean and where my belief systems are. And that's why we call it spiritual practice, because it's ongoing. It's ongoing. I will close with this, the top of page 299. And it is a law that the one who sees what they want to see, regardless of what appears, will someday experience in the outer what they have so faithfully with seen in the within. We have to see it before we see it. We have to flip that paradigm that instead of I'll believe it when I see it, to understand that we'll see it when we believe it. And so, with that, let's go into our time of meditation and contemplation and see what comes up. I invite you to just be present with whatever happens for the next 5 minutes. Okay, here we go. one power, everywhere present, one substance that is this one power, one substance that is all of creation, one substance that is whole, complete, and perfect, self existent, meaning it simply has always been, existing within itself, made from nothing else, just itself. Nameless because names are limitations and it is unlimited. Changeless because it already is everything. There's nothing for it to change into. And yet, it expands itself through the multiplicity of individualized expressions of itself. More than being diverse, this one is diversity. More than being omnipotent, it is omnipotence. It is omnipresence. It is omniscience. More than the adjectives that describe a thing, it is the thing. And it is the only thing. Whether I call it God, life, spirit, the great mystery, nature, Buddha, Allah, it is all of these things and so much more. It is the substance of my being. It is the substance of all being. And so its nature is my nature. The creative process of it is born into me by the substance of which I am made. No separation. I am simply a cell in this infinite body of one. Specialized to be individualized as me. To expand life as me. To expand the experience of this singular substance. Becoming a part of that expansion. What is true of me is true of all creation. Every expression of it, seen and unseen, heard and unheard, form and formless, all of it made out of a whole, perfect, and complete substance. And so wholeness, perfection, and completeness must be the truth of every expression of that. So I affirm awareness, lightness, and wholeness and completeness of my being. I affirm an awareness of that palpable way that is the joy I experience. And that as I experience this truth of my being, in the truth of one wholeness, instantly affirm that with every other cell in the body of creation, every person, place, thing, every grain of sand, every majestic mountain, every human iteration of this divine substance. I see the whole. I know the whole because I be the whole. And within me is that infinite intelligence that knows exactly how to navigate this human realm, to respond from the truth of being to the truth of being, to address behaviors that are out of alignment without condemning, correction, without action. In peace, living into a greater experience that love truly is the greatest healing power. And so to heal more, I love more. Love beyond appearances, love beyond behavior. To love the behavior. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that sense of wholeness that I feel rising in me as I speak it into my awareness, into remembering, bringing together all the aspects of me, which are the aspects of the whole, which are the aspects of every expression of it. Faith, the belief, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, reminds me of the activity of law, the doer, within the creative process that has already received the impress, already made it so. The most trustworthy operation that I know. The doer within the creative process that simply says yes and makes it so. Without opinion, without hesitation, without filtration, simply says yes and makes it so. So I can rest, I can celebrate that it is already done. And to truly, truly demonstrate, I release my word, which is the word fulfilled. I release it by letting go of anything and everything that stands in the way of its fulfillment, that would in any way or degree diminish the full manifestation of it. I let go of all hesitation, all fear, all what ifs, all compulsion to look and make sure that it's doing what it says it was going to do. I let all of that go and return to that place of faithful knowing. It is done. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amen. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.